So, hello class, welcome again. Last lecture was based on the two different colligative properties of the solution, and that was relative lowering of vapor pressure, and the second was elevation of boiling point. Now we are going to discuss about the third of the property, that is depression of freezing point, and the fourth one is called osmotic pressure. We have to study these four colligative properties throughout the chapter, and only these four are having in your syllabus also. Before starting, the depression of freezing point, as the name said, depression means decrease down. The freezing point decrease down. So as there is elevation of boiling point, the same concept, because of the same factor, the freezing point depress for any given solution when non-volatile solute is added. I don't know how many of you actually is still knowing, still learning, understanding the concept of depression and elevation. Actually, the whole concept is because of the addition of non-volatile solute. The addition of non-volatile solute. Students, actually it is very major factor that whenever the non-volatile solute is added, the vapor pressure of the solution decreases, and all the role played to elevate or depress or the lower the vapor pressure is because of that non-volatile solute. The main concept, the main role to play all these things is actually the vapor pressure. Whenever the solution having a different vapor pressure, they must have some different properties actually. So first I will try to be visualize you, I make you visualize how to this vapor pressure play a crucial role to define osmotic pressure, to define that elevation of boiling point, to define depression of freezing point. Let's start. Suppose the 1 atmosphere value, 1 atmosphere, there is two different solution now. Suppose there is two different solution, there is two different solution. The one is solution A and other is solution B. The outer atmosphere pressure is actually 1 atmosphere. Let us assume that is called 760 millimeter of Hg. Let assume the outer atmospheric pressure is 760 millimeter of Hg mercury, that is a 1 atmosphere. You can see, suppose at the given temperature T, the solution A has the vapor pressure is about 100 millimeter, and at the same temperature T, the solution B has a vapor pressure is about 150 millimeter. What do you think? Which solution has greater tendency to achieve 760 millimeter of Hg? Which solution required low temperature? To achieve the outer atmospheric pressure? That is actually 150 millimeter. Because the traveling distance from 150 millimeter of solution B to 760 millimeter of Hg is actually low. The difference between 760 and 150 is smaller. So when we are starting the increasing the temperature, solution B early attained the atmospheric pressure and solution A will attain in a late. It means solution A required greater temperature to attain the same pressure, outer atmospheric, and solution B required a low temperature to attain the same atmospheric pressure. That is called the solution B has lower boiling point because required low temperature to attain the atmospheric pressure. The vapor pressure is high. So whenever vapor pressure is high, boiling point is always lower. That is inversely proportional, and that is the reason when we added a non-volatile solute, when we added a non-volatile solute, now the solution required more temperature to be attained the atmospheric pressure, and that is the case why elevation of boiling point is observed. Suppose both are the same solution. Suppose both are the same solution. Solution A, solution B. Sorry, this is a solvent. Suppose this is a solvent and this is a solution. Now we are added some of the solute. When we added some of the solute, the vapor pressure is actually decreased down. The vapor pressure decreased down, and when vapor pressure decreased down, to attain the atmospheric pressure, there is requirement of greater temperature. Now that is called elevation of boiling point. That was the last topic we are actually learned. So last lecture was totally based on the concept why there is elevation of boiling point and why there is actually lowering in vapor pressure when we added a non-volatile solute. That was the concept. But now we are going to study why there is depression of freezing point. Why there is depression of freezing point. So students, we have to learn that depression of freezing point is because we just going to convert the liquid into the solid. You think, oh God, what is this new? There is not a new thing any. We are actually knowing the freezing means the conversion of liquid into the solid. Okay, fine. But the conversion of liquid into solid required a decrease in vapor pressure. And just addition of non-volatile solute is also decrease the vapor pressure. That will support in a freezing. The addition of non-volatile solute will be support in a freezing, and that's why freezing point will be depressed. And that can be take an example with the help of some suppose we are having a liquid with 100 millimeter pressure, gas, outer atmosphere is 760 millimeter, solid, suppose pressure is 20 millimeter. Suppose the pressure is 20 millimeter. On addition of non-volatile solute, now suppose pressure decrease to 80 millimeter. Okay, fine. Look at the graph now. When liquid has 100 millimeter pressure, and to attain the atmospheric pressure, that is 760 millimeter, suppose it required 100 degrees Celsius temperature. Because to go from 100 millimeter to 760 millimeter, there must be requirement of some increment of temperature, fine, and that temperature required is 100 degrees Celsius to convert the liquid into gas from, okay, but now the pressure is 80 millimeter. Of mercury. So to attain 80 millimeter to 760 millimeter, there must be required some extra temperature. And that is the case why suppose 110 degrees Celsius required. And that is the case why there is elevation of boiling point, because the vapor pressure decreases now. But that is the opposite in the case. Suppose from this liquid to solid, suppose there is 0 degrees Celsius required. I'm just taking example of like actually water, pure water, fine, pure water. So from liquid to solid we require 0 degrees Celsius temperature, and that is why 100 millimeter try to convert into 20 na. 100 millimeter try to convert into 20 millimeter of mercury because of the solid state, but now the pressure is already decreased. They have to be cover a low distance of pressure. And that is the why when solution already having a non-volatile solute try to convert into the solid, there must be required some low temperature, suppose like -5 degrees Celsius. -5 degrees Celsius. So required some low temperature. Required some low temperature because the solution has to be cover a low distance. The solution has to be cover a low distance. So liquid will easily solidify. Liquid will easily solidify. When we call easily solidify, the freezing point depress. When we call hardly boiled, the boiling point elevate. Hardly boil, easily depress. Why easily depress? Because vapor pressure is already down. Vapor pressure is already lowered. So it has to be converted into the solid very easily. That is the lower than a 0 degree Celsius. That can be you can see in the help of graph. In the help of graph, this line is called a frozen solvent line. There is a solvent, the pressure having called a P0, vapor pressure, pure state. Solution first, when we added a non-volatile solute, the vapor pressure decreases from this to this, and now the pressure of a solution is P1. When we added more non-volatile solute, the vapor pressure decreases more, and the vapor pressure is now called P2. You can see from the graph the temperature is lowered. You can see the temperature is lowered. How? For P0, the temperature is called freezing temperature in the pure state TF0. But when the vapor pressure is decreases, you can see the graph, the temperature is lowered. The temperature is going towards left side. The temperature T1 is lower than T0F. And when we decrease vapor pressure more by adding a non-volatile solute, the temperature is lower more, and T2 is lower than T1. And this point is called depression in freezing point. Depression in freezing point, and that is called TF0, TF2, and that one is called TF1. TF1 and TF2, delta TF2 and delta TF1. That is called the depression in freezing point of the first solution, depression in the freezing point of the second solution, and this is because of the addition of non-volatile solute. The mathematical expression of the freezing point, depression in freezing point will be similar like elevation of boiling point. You can check the formula by the same graphical equation. What I actually derived from the last lecture. What I derived from the last lecture, the elevation of boiling point. The same way you can take a similar triangles and can derive your own formula. I am not going to derive here because the derivation is actually explained in the last lecture. So I am just taking the example. Delta TF is actually T0F minus T. It can be T1 or T2, and therefore delta TF is actually proportional to molality of the solution M. When you remove proportionality sign, there is one constant called cryoscopic constant, also known as molar depress constant Kf. For water, the value of Kf is 1.86. Unit can be derived with the help of formula. The unit is similar like a unit of the elevation constant, molar elevation constant, known as ebullioscopic constant. Formula are also similar. There was in elevation there was formula delta TB equal to KB into M. Here the formula is delta TF equal to KF into M. So formula are similar. Both the concepts are similar. The only difference is there is a depression and there was elevation of boiling point. So students, try to learn. You can put the formula delta TF equal to for KF you can solve out delta TF into M. Delta TF the unit is Kelvin, and morality unit is mole per kg. that will be go up. That will be go up, will be a mole inverse kg. Okay, so this will be Kelvin mole inverse kg, that will be unit for Kf. For water, the value is 1.86. The value is 1.86. You can see, if the molality, is 1, then delta Tf equal to Kf. Delta Tf equal to Kf means if there is molality for any given solution, the molality is 1, then diffraction in freezing point is equal to the Kf value. For example, water, 1 molar aqueous solution, 1 molar aqueous solution or 1 molar water, the diffraction of freezing point will is actually 1.86 Kelvin, because the molality is 1. So Kf equal to delta Tf. So delta Tf equal to Kf. So value will be 1.86 Kelvin. 1.86 Kelvin. For 1 molar aqueous, 1 molar water, the diffraction in freezing point is actually 1.86 Kelvin. It has to be learned. Whenever we added 1 mole of a solute in the 1 kg of solvent for water, it will be a 1.86 Kelvin diffraction in freezing point. The for elevation of boiling point, that is the same value, 0.52 Kelvin. So for a same concentration of water, the depression of freezing point is always greater than the elevation of boiling point, because the values are very different. Kb value is 0.52 Kelvin mole inverse kilogram, and depression constant Kf is 1.86. so that there is a difference because of that. That is all about the diffraction of freezing point. You have to be learn how to understand through the graph, how to understand through the taking a visualize examples. You have to be solve some numericals. We'll try to check the numerical from next lecture, because in this lecture we'll try to conclude the some of the colligative property. So depression of freezing point is all about this. Now the fourth topic is actually osmotic pressure. The fourth topic is osmotic pressure. I'm explaining here only. How many of you knowing what is called osmosis? Indicated by pi. Osmotic pressure is the fourth colligative properties. So how many of you knowing what is the meaning of osmosis? Anyone? Hello? Anyone? Fine. So I think you are not knowing the meaning of osmosis. Actually, osmosis and diffusion, there are two different terms in a aqueous solution and in the gaseous mixture. Whenever there is a free movement of the particles, from higher concentration to lower concentration, they has to be termed by diffusion, either in a osmosis, depending upon where we are studying, in gaseous system or in a liquid system. In liquid system or in aqueous solution, especially the flow of water molecule from higher concentration of water to lower concentration of water. I am repeating, the flow of water molecule from higher concentration of water to lower concentration of water is called osmosis. And the flow of gaseous particle from higher concentration of gaseous system to lower concentration of gaseous system is called diffusion. So diffusion generally we are using for a gaseous particle either, or for a very fine solute particles. Either for a very gaseous particle or very fine solute particle, generally we are using a diffusion word. But for aqueous solution we are using osmosis. The concept are similar, but this for gaseous system we are applying generally ideal gas equation, van der Waals gas equation, Bayes law, Charles law, that Graham's diffusion law, where there is a one also diffusion law, Graham's diffusion law. And for osmosis we are going to study one of the important relationship between a pressure and the concentration, that is called Van 't Hoff equation. Van 't Hoff equation. So osmotic pressure is also a colligative property which only depend upon the number of solute particle. Actually, Van 't Hoff, the one of the famous scientists, studied that the solute particle in the solution, they randomly movement, there is a random movement of the solute particle as similar like a gaseous particle in the atmospheric gas. The atmosphere, as the gaseous particles are randomly moved, the same way the solute particles are also randomly moved in the solution, and that can be relate the one of the liquid system with the gaseous system because of the same movement, because of the same behavior of the solute particle in the solution. So he derived the sum of the formula for that we are going to derive, but before that we have to be learn the sum of the term. We have to be learn the sum of the term, like sum of the solution. Actually, solution can be classified on the basis of osmotic pressure as three types, and these are isotonic solution, hypotonic solution, and hypertonic solution. The three solutions are there, but first we have to be learn what is called osmotic pressure. What is called osmotic pressure? Actually, when two different solutions are separated by semi-permeable membrane, suppose in one side there is only a liquid, on the other side there is actually solution, in other side there is actually solution which contains some of the solute, and this is called SPM, semi-permeable membrane, SPM. Okay, so there is always a tendency of flow of water molecule from the side of where that water is higher in condition. So actually, whenever the two different solution is separated by semi-permeable membrane, the solution has a tendency to equalize the concentration by the flow of water molecule. There is always a tendency of equalize the concentration, and this is because of the difference of pressure. This is because of the difference of pressure. You can see there are solute particle, so there must be a higher pressure because of the continuous random movement of solute particle which continuously strike on the wall of the SPM. So they will be arise more osmotic pressure, the more pressure on the wall of SPM than water molecule, because there is no any solute particle. So there will be a more pressure applied from this side on the wall of SPM. That is called actually osmotic pressure, but that can be defined as the minimum pressure, pressure which just stop the flow of osmosis. The minimum pressure in a solution which just stop the flow of osmosis when the two different concentration liquids are separated by SPM is called osmotic pressure. So osmotic pressure is just a pressure which actually stop the flow of osmosis. The particle, actually there is a flow of water molecule from this side to this side, because there is higher concentration of water molecule and here is lower concentration of water molecule because of the presence of solute particle. So whatever the concentration is there, suppose concentration is pi, and here is a pressure is pi and here is a pressure is called P. So actually pi is greater than P. Pi is greater than P because of there is extra solute particle present which randomly strike on the surface of the SPM from right side. And that's why there will be a greater pressure from this side. To equalize that pressure, the water is continuously flowing from left to right side until unless there will be equal concentration in both sides. Until unless there is equal concentration of both sides. That is called osmotic pressure, because of which there is a flow of water molecule. So when we apply the same difference pressure, there is a difference of pressure pi minus P. The difference of pressure is called pi minus P. Sorry, you have to be right. Actually, P dash plus phi. We have to be right. P dash plus pi actually. Okay. So P and P dash. Sorry. P equal to P dash plus pi. Actually, that extra pressure, due to which there is a tendency of flow of water from this side to this side, from left to right side, is actually called osmotic pressure. So if this same pressure applied from this side also, from left side, the flow of osmosis will be stopped. That is called osmotic pressure. So on the basis of that osmotic pressure, the liquid solution is actually classified into three categories. The one is isotonic, the other is hypertonic, the third one is hypotonic. The third one is actually hypotonic. Suppose I am making some of the solution which is separated by SPM, the semi-permeable membrane. You have to be learn some of the example of SPM, like a gallbladder, the cellular tissue plasma membrane, pig bladder, etc. Suppose there are some osmotic pressure called pi 1 and here is pi 2. Here is suppose pi 1 and here is actually pi 2. If two different solution which is separated by semi-permeable membrane SPM having same osmotic pressure, if two different solution having same osmotic pressure which is separated by SPM, they actually called isotonic solution. The isotonic solution, there is no any net flow of water from any side. The equal flow of the flow from this side to this side will be the equal in the concentration. Okay, so no net concentration change in the solution because they both have the same pressure. That is called isotonic condition. But if we are separated two different liquid and in which the one liquid has greater osmotic pressure than the other, suppose the solution liquid second has greater pressure than solution first, the second solution is called hypertonic. And first solution is called hypotonic. Always the solution having a greater concentration, having greater osmotic pressure, and they are always called hyper, means larger, greater. The solution having a lower concentration of solute, having lower osmotic pressure, called hypotonic. So you can see there is a lower concentration due to which lower osmotic pressure. Always the flow of water from the lower osmotic pressure to higher osmotic pressure, and that's why the net flow will be from right to left. The net flow of water will be from right to left. Will be from right to sorry. But I said always the net flow from the left to right. From left to right, because there is a lower osmotic pressure. To equalize the osmotic pressure, there is always flow from lower osmotic pressure to the higher osmotic pressure side, always. Okay, so this is the example. This is the example of the isotonic, hypertonic and hypotonic solution. That is one of the formula what we have to be study also. I'm just taking that formula also. Try to be learn in the same lecture. But before this, just take one very important example. Actually, the concentration of brine solution, actually common salt solution, by 0.91 by mass by mass. The concentration of 0.91 brine solution is actually isotonic with the blood cells. The example is that has to be learned because that is given in NCERT and very many times actually they ask in the competitions. The concentration of salt solution, which is 0.91 by mass, is actually isotonic with the blood cells, and that can be easily injected through the intravenously system. Whenever we are taking a syringe, we are taking a syringe through the intravenously, means through the blood. The 0.91 concentration can be injected. That is called isotonic with the blood cells. But if there is a concentration greater than 0.91, the concentration greater than 0.91, that is called hypertonic. So blood cell will be low concentration. So always water flow from the lower to the higher, so blood cell will be shrink. And when there is a lower concentration than 0.91 by mass, there will be hypotonic condition, and that condition blood cell will be in higher concentration, so they will be gain some water from the outside, and blood cell will be swell up. So for example, suppose this solution are 0.91 of NaCl, 0.91 of by mass NaCl solution, and we just added a blood cell. There will be no change in the blood cell because there is no loss or gain of the water from outside or inside, and due to which the blood cell will remain in the same shape. But if the same blood cell added in hypotonic solution, hypotonic means outer solution. The concentration of outer solution is a lower level. So water must be flow from outside to inside. That is called endoosmosis. Endoosmosis means whenever the water flow from outside to in the cell. Endoosmosis means the flow of water from the outside in the cell. That is called endoosmosis, and that will causes a swell up of the blood cells. If the same cell added in hypertonic condition, solution, the outer concentration of the solution is a higher condition, and that's inside the cell there is a lower concentration. So that's why the cell will be loses its water, and due to which the cell will be shrink down, due to which the plasmolysis will be taking place. Plasmolysis means when cell lost its water, when the water flow flow of water from the cell to the outside, the plasmolysis will be taking place, and that is called exoosmosis process. So exoosmosis takes place in hypotonic solution, hypertonic. Endoosmosis takes place in the hypotonic solution, and there is no net flow of water when the cell is added in a isotonic solution. Okay, these are the some terms. These are the some terms you have to be learned through the hypertonic, hypotonic, and isotonic solutions. And now the formula. Actually, from the ideal gas equation we are knowing. The formula is, that is called Van 't Hoff formula. Okay, that is called Van 't Hoff formula. Van 't Hoff equation. From ideal gas equation, we are knowing that the formula is Pv equal to nRT. The formula is Pv equal to nRT, that can be written as pi equal to n by v upon equal to RT. N by v means number of moles in the given volume. If the volume of the solution is per liter, then n by v can be written as molarity. N by v can be written as molarity or concentration. So that formula will be same like P equal to CRT, or you can write C stand here concentration of the solution in the terms of molarity. But this is for the gaseous system. For liquid system, the P can be substituted by pi. So for aqueous solution, it can be written as pi equal to CRT, where pi is the osmotic pressure of any given solution, C is the concentration in the terms of molarity for the same solution, R is a gaseous constant. As usual, the value will be same. Temperature in a Kelvin. So you can solve the sum of the formula on the basis of this equation, Van 't Hoff equation. This is known as Van 't Hoff equation. And these are the concept of isotonic, hypotonic, hypertonic solution. Student, it is very easy to learn all the concept. There is another topic that is called reverse osmosis in the same topic. We'll discuss about that reverse osmosis in the next lecture, and we'll solve some numerical based on the all 4 colligative properties. So this is all about the colligative properties in this lecture. Okay, try to learn this and take a picture, a screenshot of the same. Okay, thank you.